What up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Ibrahim Tanner TV, where we talk sports and politics, or just anything from an American freedman perspective. We got to get into this Josh Giddey situation. A lot of people have been talking about Josh Giddey without talking about Josh Giddey and his sexual assault allegations. I think you can still call him right now.
Maybe.
Josh Giddey, the
We'll talk in a minute.
6'8" shooting guard. This is Josh Giddey, the 6'8" shooting guard from Oklahoma City. He's 21 years old. Born and raised in Australia. This is his third year in the NBA. He's averaging 12 points, a little bit over about 5.7 rebounds, and a little bit over 4 assists for the Oklahoma City Thunder, who is really good. They just recently made the cover of Slam magazine, but Giddey may have more problems than what the media is alleging on at this moment. You know, social media can be a gift and a curse. It seems like it's more of a curse to the younger generation. It may be more of a curse to our generation as well. Nobody asks Josh Giddey anything, and then he just runs to the internet and start putting things online like this.
What's up, my man? Right at the front of the club. Me and my girl. Better head back to mine. What's up, my man? Right at the front of the club. Me and my girl.
That's Josh Giddey talking about him and his girl is about to head back to his apartment. We find out that the girl is Livy Cook. She's alleged to be 15 years old, maybe even younger.
That was the actual thing? That was the actual night, E?
Well, that night coalesced with this night where, she's posting on Snapchat.
Okay.
And from him, it was only one night, right? So if it was only one night and it looks like everything is in alignment because they have on the same clothes and the makeup and everything looks the same, except for this picture right here that she posted where he doesn't seem to be wearing much at all.
Right.
For some reason, she wants people in her business because she posts on Snapchat, just F Josh Giddey.
I was listening to the words. When he said my girl, me and my girl, we leaving the club, me and my girl. He didn't say somebody I just met, my new friend, we just started. He said me and my girl.
Now, we know that she's from California. Obviously, he lives in Oklahoma City. And they keep talking about something that's going on in Virginia where they may have hooked up. Either way it goes, the age of consent in all three of those states is not below 16 years old.
And I read today that the encounter actually did happen in Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma.
Yeah, hold on one quick second. Let me see. What are they linked together? Giddey is under investigation by both the NBA and the Newport Beach police in California, where the age of consent is 18, unlike Oklahoma, where the incident happened, which has an age of 16. Because I think they keep bringing up what this is because she was calendar-wise 15. We wouldn't be talking about this if she was actually 16 at the day of abuse, at the day of the predatory behavior. We wouldn't be talking about it.
That makes him 19 at the time. And it's funny because when you go online, a lot of people are saying, well, he's from Australia. Maybe the age of consent in Australia, they do things, blah, 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 blah,
he's
blah.
from Timbuk. He's
but what
over
you
here.
find out is that even in Australia, that's illegal. Even in Australia, that's statutory rape. The age of consent in Australia is 16. Good try, but you're going to have to try harder.
Nah, they trying to get away with it. They trying to do that I'm white and I say so shit. He's Australian. Why all of a sudden is he Australian? He playing in the National Basketball Association. He's getting American dollars over here. He's not. We don't care where he's originally from. That doesn't matter. Once you're here, you're an American. We're a country of immigrants.
This this is very damaging. The fact that they're close together, they look like they're in like a hotel room or a room. He has his shirt off, and she goes to the internet and she posts this. And it's funny because and we're going to get into Malika Andrews' comments, Stephen A. Smith comments, and some of the things that Des Bryant says about him. But I went to the internet when I was trying to research this, and I couldn't find much information. So I said, you know what? Let me do a compare and contrast. Now, we know Kevin Porter Jr., the guard that played for Houston earlier this year, had a domestic allegation. And when you go to the internet, right, you look at the people who wrote about this, who was really instrumental in bringing this story to the public. You see Reuters, you see Fox Houston, you see ESPN, NBC Sports, Forbes, Bleacher Report, Sports Illustrated, USA Today, CBS Sports. You see some smaller stuff too, but Sports Illustrated, ABC 7, ABC News, Daily Mail, The Athletic. You know,
National Enquirer, Reader's Digest, TV Guide.
It just goes on and on and on, right? And that's normally what one of these stories looks like when a Black professional athlete does something wrong. So I said, maybe that was just Kevin Porter because he got arrested. So you know what I did? I went and I looked up Kyrie Irving because he didn't get arrested. His wasn't a criminal case, right?
Never got arrested.
He just shared a link to a documentary that he liked.
He's just a hyperlink gangster.
You see, all these publications wrote about it. PBS, the New York Times. I'm not even going to mention American Jewish Committee.
Right.
CBS Sports, NPR, Forbes, ESPN, CNBC, BBC, New York Post, The Athletic, CNN, NBC News, Rolling Stone, Al Jazeera. I don't even know what Al Jazeera is.
What are they doing in that? What is this Al Jazeera?
I don't know. It is a big story. We got to get in on
everything. They want to be on everything.
The New Yorker, Washington Post, The Hill, ESPN, but you get the drift, right? You get the drift.
Yeah.
Now, let me show you Josh Giddey. And this is what I mean. I just had a hard problem finding any real reliable sources. It's like this thing doesn't even exist. Look at this. WCNC, Marca.com, Deadspin, The Guardian. The Guardian might be the biggest one that wrote on this. Hot New Hip Hop. Let's Run.com.
I'll give you a little soundtrack.
Look, where's Forbes and USA Today? Where's the New York Times? Where's the Washington Post? Right?
Come on, man.
Look at all these small publications that wrote. So the mainstream publication news that normally takes these stories and run with it. And you got to remember, I'm gonna be honest here, because a lot of people is comparing this to Ja Morant. I think that's a bad comparison.
That's a horrible comparison, dude.
Good comparison. See, these NBA owners, right? They're called NBA owners, not CEOs of teams.
Right.
And the players are the assets. Their job is to protect their assets at any given cost.
Mm-hmm.
Before Ja Morant got suspended, and he got suspended by his team, he had multiple allegations. There was an allegation of him going up to his sister's high school, attempting to fight some high school students, going up to Foot Locker, chasing a high school student into the back office, and he locked himself in and he was trying to fight him. You got him after a Memphis Pacers game, pointing an object with a red beam at the team. And then you got the mentor-mentee situation where he allegedly got into a fight with his mentee, then goes into the house, gets out a weapon, and starts brandishing a weapon. Those are 4 incidents before he gets caught with the gun. Right. Now, while I think that's a bad comparison, because we didn't really hear about these incidents until everything boiled over, and then you got 5 incidents, and then you eventually get the 6th incident that gets him the 26-game suspension or whatnot. But the NBA is protecting him like the NBA protects all of their assets. The problem is that the media doesn't allow these institutions to protect. So if you think about even Ja Morant or like a Kyrie Irving didn't initially get suspended until the media kept showing up to all of his practices. Yep. And he finally said, I can't be anti-Semitic. And they said, yes, we finally got something. We taking it back to the Jewish community. And they kind of just ran with that. And that's when he got that indefinite suspension that ended up going away because they had some bogus stipulations on it. The problem with this is the media just runs up and asks him, one time, and the only soundbite we get is him saying this.
The past couple of days, there's some pretty serious allegations. I know nothing is concrete there, but is there anything you can say in this situation?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the question, obviously, but there's no further comment right now.
That's it.
He's from Australia. He sounds like he's from Oklahoma. He don't sound like he's foreign. How long has he been over here?
if you listen to enough of his Instagram, he sounds like a black man. So I think it's all cosplay. But
wait a minute. I mean, he's like literally, he got the hand emoji. He's like, he's like, y'all know this shit's complicated. No comment. He does not sound like an Australian boy that's lost and he's just over here playing basketball and he's kind of scared of his surroundings. He seems very comfortable. And he seems very, so, and I want to get into a little bit of a debate here with you because I absolutely don't feel that this is in any way like Kyrie or any way like or Ja or Kevin Porter. Well, Kevin Porter, that was with the female. That was with the female? Yes. Okay. So, but this right here, Ja and Kyrie had nothing to do with women.
Also,
go ahead.
It had nothing to do with foul charges being filed. There
criminal
was no
charges or potential criminal charges. I mean, the gun thing.
They investigated Ja Morant, but what I believe, and they never brought this to light because the media never does. They just vilify our black athletes, and then when they get exonerated, there's never a story about that.
No.
I'm sure he has a gun permit because he's been, when you have a gun permit, it's good in certain states. Like, so Indiana, our gun permit is good everywhere, but basically California, Pennsylvania, New York City,
right,
a few other states, right?
Right.
So by him taking his gun from Tennessee to Colorado, it doesn't violate anything.
Do you believe believe he went through customs? You believe that their bags aren't checked? They checking these dudes' bags for drugs?
It was a private plane. It was the Memphis Grizzlies plane. So they were trying to say, he broke some type of rules and regulations of the team, but it wasn't criminal. Now, as far as Kevin Porter Jr.'s go, he hasn't been convicted of anything. His is a little bit different from Giddey because he was arrested, but still it's supposed to be innocent to proven guilty, right?
Was she underage? Because I don't know much about the Kevin Porter.
No, it was his girlfriend at the time. She's doubled back and recanted that nothing happened, but it doesn't matter. He was traded from Houston. He's been waived, and I don't even think he has a spot on the NBA team as a right.
Whoa! So they killed his career? And he hasn't been convicted of anything yet?
It's in limbo right now. I remember Stephen A. Smith rushing to ESPN studios and said, this is alleged, but if this is true, this man belongs in prison. And it's funny because now when it comes to Giddey, everybody is just hush mouth. And everybody is hush mouth for a reason. Let me show y'all something. I think a lot, and I'm not defending Stephen A. Smith, and we're going to get into Stephen A. Smith and Malika Andrews because I appreciate some of the blowback that they have gotten. But people have to understand like what's going on with the media. The media is not built to vilify white athletes like it vilifies black athletes. No. Like this whole apparatus is to build up black athletes to be superhuman, then to break them down. It's funny because there was a documentary on Michael Jordan. And besides everybody just esteeming how great of a basketball player he was, the documentary was to show you how shitty of a person he was. So they showed you about the gambling, the drinking, how bad of a teammate he was, how he left Scottie Pippen out there on the limb. They just talked about all of the horrible stuff he did. A lot of people thought, this is just the last season and how great he is. No, this was to break him down. And you know what came after the documentary? Him saying he gonna sell his team. But anyway, this is the CEO of ESPN. This is James Pitaro. He's the president of ESPN Inc., co-chair Disney Media Network, right? He's ESPN 8th president. This is the CEO of Fox Sports. This is Eric Shanks, chief executive officer and executive producer. You think these guys is going to let their talent get up there and disparage Giddey, disparage Brett Favre, disparage Dana White, disparage Peyton Manning, any of these people who have caught cases over the years? I think that a lot of the people who watch these shows believe that Stephen A. Smith has the leverage to go after whoever he wants to go after.
He has absolutely no leverage. Actually, the more money they give him, the less leverage he has. That's what people really don't understand. Where he's at this point, he is, him and McAfee are running ESPN. With a whole bunch of other scab players. And Stephen A is pretty much at the top of the food chain where he's going to be. He's not going to make more money than McAfee. But he has absolutely no leverage. Yes, he's got a brand. Yes, he's got his own show. But he still answers to a paymaster. and that gives him no leverage, and it also holds him accountable even for people that are on his show, what they say, because he's really kind of like the band director. And if you play a bad tune, he got to sit you down and put somebody else in, or they'll sit him down. So Stephen A has no leverage, and I didn't expect him to speak on this. I get it. I get where he's at, because he generally protects this type of player anyway. He'll come down on a brother, but he'll protect this player right here. Did you see the press conference interview with the OKC coach? How sure he was about shit?
I mean, he basically said there's nothing going on right now. TMZ put a report out. TMZ was the first to rush. And it's funny because all of these people got investigative reporters, but nobody got investigative reporters in Oklahoma City and California now when it comes to this. You hear Stephen A. Smith said, no, I know what's going on. I got sources, right? I got sources. He ain't got no sources in Oklahoma, though. He had sources for Westbrook and Kevin Durant when they were there. Right. Now he don't have no sources.
Them niggas gone. He's like, oh, my firm died. My firm died. Because they only... Look, who else on that team right now? I don't even know another OKC player. I know you do because you're a baller.
Shea Alexander-Gilchrist. Like this is you got Chet. This is a really good Oklahoma City team that's been. I'm
an arbitrary NBA fan anymore. When Westbrook left and KD left and Harden left and Okafor left, I was watching them cats then. But when they disbanded that team, weren't they the ones that were up 3-1 and lost?
Yeah, to Golden State Warriors.
Once that happened and they disbanded that team, I stopped watching them all together. I'd watch Russ's little antics, his 40, 20, and 15s. Double. But I don't know anybody on that team. I didn't even know that was the coach.
I didn't know that was the last coach that I was familiar with is Donovan that used to coach Florida.
Yeah, Billy Donovan.
But okay, it's funny because TMZ usually comes with the scoop. TMZ usually goes where
the
other
two gay dudes, the black dude and the white dude, they gay. They like those lawyers.
They usually go where other people won't go, right?
But lawyers. They know they can dig
rushed
deep.
out and said that this young lady, Livy Cook, and her family is not cooperating with authorities. That was misleading too. That's what they said, right? But one thing came up when I was online searching for something. I'm like, this doesn't align with what TMZ had to say.
Uh-oh.
Do y'all know who this is? Josh Giddey allegations. Livy Cook hires attorney Gloria Allred. Now, at first, I was thinking when TMZ said that Livy Cook and her family wasn't cooperating with the authorities, is like maybe they were too busy house shopping, too busy at a car lot or something. But then I find out, no, they going for the gusto. If you don't know who Gloria Allred is, I'm gonna just read a little bit of some of the cases.
Your viewers know who Gloria Allred is.
If you don't know Gloria, they should. But if you don't know,
you under a rock for real. That's the white Ben Crump.
She represented clients that sued Tommy Lee Jones, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Herman Cain, Scott Lee Cohen, Anthony Weiner, Sacha Baron Cohen, and your man's truly R. Kelly, right? So she's a giant in the Me Too movement.
They should call her Gloria All Green because she's just all green. She get her money. Have you ever seen anybody that doesn't even want to fight the case? They're like, no, we're gonna take you to court. No, she's looking to strike a deal now.
Yeah. But you ever seen those commercials where somebody is like, who's the attorney? And they find out who the attorney is and they say, let's settle now.
Let's settle. Yeah.
That's what you do when you see her, right? So the family of Livy Cook, the alleged minor who reportedly had sex with NBA stars Josh Giddey, has retained the services of high-profile lawyer Gloria Allred. Allred has risen to fame in recent years for her involvement in high-profile sexual assault lawsuits. Allred's previous client already read. So, this is big news. And this is something that you would normally see New York Times reporting, ESPN, Forbes, CNBC. Like, come on, man. Not like Gawker, not these little bitty publications that, like, even this article right here where I find this information is on hotnewhiphop.com. This should have been all over the airwaves. But like I said, the media job is to raise black men up to be superhuman and then break them down.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to white men are always redeemable. That's why you have Peyton Manning and Eli Manning having a show. Hell, they'll give Brett Favre a show in a couple of years. Mark my word. It doesn't work the same for them. So when you like, keep that in mind. This is not a defense of Stephen A. Smith, because this is the job they signed up to do. And it's not just Stephen A. Smith, Malika Andrews. It's Shannon Sharp too, right? It's Marcellus Wiley. It's all of those black sportscasters that you see. The first time they get out of line, they end up getting put back in their place. Y'all remember this, don't y'all?
And I would like to apologize for a comment I made earlier on NBA Countdown. I questioned why a woman's name who had an alleged affair with Celtics head coach Ime Udoka was not made public. After an internal investigation, and it was discovered that she was a subordinate to the head coach, I now understand fully why her name should not be released to the public. Now,
they didn't say any of that. They didn't say any of that about Nia Long. Nia Long had to finally come out with a statement and basically said, man, y'all broke my house up. We couldn't handle this internally because y'all went public with everything.
Wait a minute, though. Why couldn't they keep Ime Udoka's name quiet?
Because he's a black man. And when it comes to a black man, we got to drag him, especially when he's American free.
Yeah, you keep the two individuals insulated. You don't say nothing. Even while the investigation is going on, let him work. You're going to pay him anyway. Let him work. Or you do pull him off and you put her off, and everybody will know who it is behind the scenes. But why? His name was Ime. I mean,
Stephen A. Smith and his response to defend Malika Andrews says she wasn't at work. I remember her not being at work either when Ime Udoka broke out. She called in to Stephen A. Smith's show. I got to get this off.
She took some PTO time.
She called in. Hey, she
home on the typewriter like, whoa.
On line one? Oh, it's Malika Andrews. It called in and tried to give Stephen A. Smith the business, tried to tell him what he should and shouldn't be saying when they come. I bet Stage Steele is somewhere like throwing shoes at the wall. Like, that was my position. I was supposed to be bringing down these black.
Remember the Temptations movie when they made it, and the chick that tried to hustle him at the beginning, and she was sitting at the bar like, damn it.
Yeah, I skipped out.
That's Sage Steele.
I don't want y'all to think like this is just all my opinions, right? Because around here we do data. We got to bring up some stuff. This comes from Missouri University. Black athletes stereotype negatively in media compared to white athletes. This study was by Cynthia Frisbee in the University of Missouri School of Journalism. Frisbee, I'm going to read this middle section. Frisbee found out that overall more stories were written about white athletes, 43%, than black athletes, 39%. Frisbee also found that more than 66% of the crime stories involved black athletes, while only 22% involved white athletes. So 66% of crime stories when it came to athletes was black. Only 22% was white. So black people was 3 times more to get publicized in publications when they committed a crime. More than 70% of domestic violence stories involve black athletes, and only 17% involve white athletes. Finally, 53% of the stories involving black athletes had a negative tone, while only 27% of stories about white athletes were negative. Frisbee says these statistics point to an existence of stereotyping in the sports media. No, this points to just complete racism. I mean, y'all got to understand, I think it's fair to say everybody hates Hitler, right? Except for Kanye. Kanye seems as a little bit redeemable.
There's been a couple more race soldiers out there.
Definitely a few.
They gave Hitler a little dab,
Hitler sent people over to America to understand how great America propaganda was, right? Mm-hmm. Like you got to understand how great America propaganda is. They're going to never drag their people. That's not what the media was intended to do.
Right.
Since Birth of a Nation, they, and even before Birth of a Nation, right? During Reconstruction, they put out all of these, signifier that, you know, if black people get into politics, they just gonna spin the city's coffin and sit there and eat watermelon, chew chicken, and smoke cigars all day. They're not going to do any work, and that's what So I don't think people should distinguish, right, Fox News from SF1. It's still up under the same company. I don't think people should distinguish Disney or ABC from ESPN. It's just parent companies, right?
Same umbrella.
They all do the same thing. So when you hear Stephen A. Smith say why he didn't go after Josh Giddey, like he went after Terrell Owens, like he went after Porter Jr., like he went after Ray Rice, like Ray Rice was just on and on, like they just couldn't stop talking about Ray Rice. But anyway, I'm gonna get into Stephen A. Smith comment, his initial comment. Everything that come after this was BS. This is BS too, but I'm gonna just let y'all hear what he had to say.
Another item I wanted to get to was something significantly more sensitive than what I just finished talking about. And that is the case involving Josh Giddey of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, let me say this to all of y'all out there who've been clamoring for me to touch on this subject. Y'all getting on my last damn nerves. Could you try to be responsible? Could you try? That's all I'm asking. What you want Stephen A. to say? Oh, man, where you at, Stephen A.? If this was a brother... Wait a minute. If it was a brother, I would have treated it with the same level of sensitivity. This man, Josh Giddey, is currently being investigated by the National Basketball Association, the NBA, over allegations that he was having a relationship with a minor. We don't know who she was. We don't know how old she was. He's 21. We don't know how old she is. We don't know anything. We know there's an investigation going on. That's all we know. We don't know anything else. You know why Stephen A. hasn't said anything? Because you could get sued, idiots. You don't just go out there running your damn mouth over something this serious. A fight that took place on a basketball court, sure. Allegations where the alleged victim is identified, sure. Where the specification of the crime is illuminated, sure. But this clamoring to comment about something with no information, no definitive facts, you can't do it. You can do it on social media with your troll ass selves. You can do it then because you don't have any real accountability. But why don't you try using your social media accounts and going to Josh Giddey and flat out accusing him and stating it as a point of fact? Make sure you give him your name and address too, because he probably could sue you. You have to wait and see. We don't have all the information. We don't even have the specific allegations in terms of its depth. Again, we don't know how old she is. When you say a minor, what do you mean? Are we talking 16? Are we talking 14? Are we talking 12? What are we talking about? Is she 17, about to turn 18 in a month? But got parents that are pissed off because she was messing with an NBA player? We don't know. There are a whole bunch of things going on. I don't know. I have no clue. If I had a clue, I would have spoke on it. But I don't. And that's why I haven't said anything. And my advice to y'all is to shut the hell up and do the same. The investigation is ongoing. We're going to find out something. And when we find out more information, we'll speak on it. When Josh Giddey was asked, he said he couldn't comment on it. That's what he said. Quote, I understand the question, obviously, but there's no further comment right now.
So he's scared of speaking on it because he'll get sued. Terrell Owens is actually suing ESPN and Stephen A. Smith, and they had a whole back and forth on Twitter. It's not because he's scared to get sued. He's scared to end up like Jalen Rose. See, Jalen Rose had to apologize and still got fired. That apology was so embarrassing. You know, they told him, you either apologize now or you fired. He apologized and they still fired him. And that Stephen A. Smith ain't trying to end up like that.
Well, why did he have to apologize? Because it wasn't untrue what he said. They just felt like he cast a bad light on ESPN.
No, he had to apologize because that's how they treat their black anchors. You do what we tell you to do, and you
right.
don't.
But he hadn't said anything factually untrue.
Everything he said was absolute fact.
Wow.
Everything. It's like the time Stephen A. Smith had to apologize when he talked and when he said some women provoke their abusers. That was scientifically sound. There's a
made him
study out there
apologize for that.
Almost fired him, suspended him for a couple of days and everything. This was like in 2010, I believe. This was bad.
Wow.
I could pull up the article, but yeah, you know, see, we think like these people are free to just say and do what they want to do, but me and you know, many of our audience that's going to watch this video, we understand these dudes do what they're told to do. They have leverage to go after a Deshaun Watson. They don't have to ask their boss, can we crucify this man? No, just go get him. And if the lawsuits come, we're ABC, we're Disney. We'll take care of those lawsuits. When it comes to you vilifying people in the greater white community, oh, hell no. We don't even care if he's not from America. We don't care if he's Australian.
Right.
You don't have the capacity to go after these people, even when they do something heinous. They got Dana White. Dana White was actually on video camera in 4K punching his wife. And they were really cheeky about how they were handling the situation. They really treated it with white.
They had that on DVD, VHS, Betamax, everything. I mean, you could have seen that at every angle. And he didn't get any consequences. They didn't pull none of his sponsors left him. They didn't take none of his content offline. TV, nobody gave in to him, nothing.
They didn't follow him around, asking him questions like they did Kyrie Irving. Remember, they followed Mayweather to jail.
Yeah,
he did his 30 days, and then they was there when he returned from jail.
We still here.
Now, everything Michael Vick does, he has to apologize before he do. I'm sorry for investing in dog fighting and fighting dogs. And it's like, come on, man, this stuff is old, man.
Yeah.
They ruin your whole career over this stuff, and you still apologize.
And he's so compromised now. He can't even come out like some of these guys that have been vilified. And they come out on the other end and they go podcast. Michael Vick is actually kind of bought and paid for. He's got to stay online unless somebody pulls him off onto a big platform where I think he'd be a really good caster, you know, on a sports podcast where he could really talk freely because nobody's gone through what Michael Vick's gone through.
I mean, they're not trying to hear what Michael Vick got to say. The white audience does not want to hear it.
Yeah.
So you know, they were saying Malika Andrews hasn't spoke. Now, I absolutely understand why people like Dez Bryant went after Malika Andrews, and I think on that one, Stephen A. Smith was like, "Whoo!" Like usually everybody ganged up to come after me. They go after Malika Andrews. That's better. Yeah. Malika Andrews does some of the most distasteful media journalism I've ever seen in my life, right? She's like Sage Steele to the 10 squared, right?
She Sage on steroids.
what she did on draft night,
oh man,
was absolutely abominable. And she's going to say, and Stephen A. Smith in his rebuttal was going to say she had to do it. She had to do it because of what?
Right.
You like this man wasn't accused of anything. He just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people. He was never arrested. He was never charged. There was never any allegations alleged with him. And she brought that stuff up.
She didn't have to do that. She didn't have to bring that up.
She brought up Boston Celtics coach Joe Mazzulla allegations that he was never convicted on.
Right.
Malika Andrews is there, so it's extremely fair. This is what Malika Andrews had to say about the Giddey situation. You know, she's the Darth Vader when it comes to vilifying black male athletes. But when it comes to Giddey, she was very humble.
The league is looking into allegations that Thunder guard Josh Giddey had an improper relationship with an underage girl. In a since-deleted post, an anonymous social media user claimed a girl who was seen with Giddey in videos and images, some of which include explicit captions, was a junior in high school at the time. Giddey, who's 21, he declined to comment on Friday, and despite the serious allegations, Giddey is yet to miss a game this season. Thunder coach Mark Daigneault, he said he will continue to be in the lineup, saying, quote, "Just with the information we have at this point, that is the decision we've made. It's obviously a league matter at this point, and the ball is in their court on that." Now, a league spokesperson told me this morning that the NBA is still in the process of gathering information, and we will continue to update this story as the news develops. NBA Today will be back.
That's it. There's no more to that. There's no more to that. That's it. That's it.
I guess my thing is I'm not seeing, like you said, the mainstream. We have not seen any of that, but I'm not even seeing podcasters, former athletes, this, that, and the other speak up on this, which is really odd. And are they the new gatekeepers? I mean, I'm always going to call cats cats. And the first thing that I honed in on was the age differential, not the color, not that he was an athlete or she's an athlete as well. No, not that he's an immigrant. None of that. I looked at the age differential. And I know people saying, well, it's not that big of a difference, 4 or 5 years. It is when you're young like that.
You know what my main issue was? So I'm reading all these small publication articles because the main publications didn't want to write about it. Every one of these articles was alluding to other players. It seemed like everyone opened up with Karl Malone. People have to understand, I'm not like nobody's excusing what Karl Malone did. I think Karl Malone is a heinous individual. But he was a sophomore in college when he did that. Right. He wasn't in the NBA. So you can't compare that to what Giddey did as somebody who was in the NBA. And that was in like the early 80s, maybe, right? Still was a crime, still was statutory rape, right? Still was a horrible act. But every article either brought up Karl Malone, right, to take the blame off of Giddey. One brought up Kobe Bryant marrying Vanessa, saying Vanessa was 17 when Kobe Bryant married her, even though she had the permission of her parents, and they actually got married. Not a one-night fling with a
How
minor.
old was Kobe? I didn't know there was a big age differential with them.
I think Kobe, he married her, he was 20 or 21, and she was 17.
Hell, okay. Okay. I never knew that was a deal. They made a big deal about that?
Every article can't just talk about Giddey. It's either Giddey and Karl Malone, Giddey and Kobe Bryant. They're basically saying the NBA has been very lenient on this stuff, and it's like, no, we haven't seen many rape allegations in the NBA.
Why don't they go on back to the black and white times when all them old dudes used to marry them young chicks? I mean, I'm talking about the black slavery. Damn it!
Because you can't just talk. You can't just bring up Giddey without being able to vilify and drag down a black man. And I think Karl Malone is par for the course, but god dang it, that was in the early 80s. We talking about 2023, right here, right now. You can't bring up Giddey as a standalone. They got to bring up everybody else. And I thought that was extremely distasteful to bring up Kobe. Like, they actually got married and had the blessing of the family. That's not the same as you being a Rolling Stone with high school kids. It's absolutely not the same, right? So the fact that you would even bring it up is racist.
I'm not saying that they didn't see that their daughter was in love with Kobe Bean, but goddamn it, she was 17. And one thing I've never heard of is Vanessa's family. Where her family at?
You know what eventually happened is that I think Vanessa took the money and kind of kept it from everybody. So
she didn't even break her family off.
Initially when he was still alive, but the big checks that came, the insurance money, the lawsuit money, And all of that money, no, she not the Bryants and not the whatever her last name was before she got married.
Well, she turned into a philanthropist. She just giving the shit away.
Yeah, to herself and her kids. That's what she giving it to some mansion development.
I put her in the same realm as Betty Shabazz and Coretta Scott King. Can't nobody marry her. Can't nobody marry Vanessa Bryant because everybody know why you getting married.
It's 2023. I think people I think she got a DM full. I don't know if she got.
You think somebody gonna shoot this shot at Bean's wife?
I'm sure a pool boy somewhere is gonna get lucky. There's a Kevin Federline lining up somewhere.
I'm not gonna say she's gonna be celibate for the rest of her life. She's gonna get broke off, but I don't think it, dude. That's some big shoes to fill, bro. That's some big shoes to fill.
It happens. It happens.
I don't know.
You got a lot of single billionaire women right now. You got Mrs. Gates, you got Mrs. Bezos, or the ex-Mrs. all on the market. But yeah, I just found it extremely problematic that you can't bring his case up as a standalone. Every time his case was brought up, it had to be a black male athlete along with him to kind of drag him down. Mm-hmm. And that's what the media is there for. So when you look at what Malika Andrews had to say, and I think Stephen A. Smith tried to say that Dez Bryant went outside the line when he brought up the fact that Malika Andrews went to a private school. But I understand what Dez Bryant was alluding to. He was alluding to the fact that she's not from our community. Mm-hmm. These are her parents. I believe this is her stepdad in the back that actually raised her, right? You see her dad is black, but her mom is white. Mm-hmm. She was raised in a upscale Jewish community. This is her husband. So I understand what Dez Bryant was saying. This woman goes after people that's outside of her cultural community. Culturally, she's white. She was raised by white people. Mm-hmm. She's, if you still go by the one drop rule, she's black. But I'm sure if you look at her government ideas, I'm pretty sure it says other when it comes to race anyway.
Right.
So she don't claim anything black, but then she gets to go on ESPN and be viewed as one of us. We don't even know where her blackness comes from. I don't even know if her dad, when I look at her dad, he could be American Freeman or he could be something else. But then you get to perusing around on ESPN, right? And be just one of us and say, no, I'm going after people in my own community. No, we're not your community. We didn't live in the community that you grew up in. We didn't go to the schools you went. We didn't have access to the quality of life that you had. That's not us. Right. So the fact that, her and Sage Steele gets to go after people that comes from the dregs of American society, people who are American freemen, who people, have seen the worst that this country has to offer. And you come off your high horse and you get to, poke holes in our dreams. It is to me, it's extremely problematic. But yeah, I just wanted to bring this Giddey thing up because I just wanted to show people that Stephen A. Smith and Malika Andrews, it doesn't matter. Like, why they're talking about it, if they talk about it anymore, if Gloria Allred pushes this thing further, and maybe there's some type of, I think it'd be like an NDA, and he'll just pay a whole bunch of money, but this thing will quietly go away. I don't think they'll get any charges out of this. No. Obviously, everybody, investigative reporters, has been fired or laid off, or they just don't work when it comes to white males, is what I believe. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think this is it. And the media won't speak on this. If they haven't spoke on this, they won't. And if they did, they'll just take whatever article they wrote and probably put some edits on it.
Well, here's my thing, too. So right now, what are they saying she is? 19?
No, you talking about Liddy Cook. No. Here's the problem. She may be like 15, 16 now.
Now?
She may be 15, 16. There's allegations that she was a sophomore in high school when this happened. I know Malika Andrews said junior.
That's 15. That's usually 15. It was supposed to be 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, Giddey just turned 21. We don't know any information about her, and that's the problem.
Was this girl 13 years old up in the club?
It's a possibility she was 13, 14 years old. Well, so there's a video. I don't have the video, but there's a video. She's just not in the club. He takes her to the bar And he's speaking in the video, and this is where he's speaking with Av. He sounds like an African American man when he says this, but he's like, "Yeah, we got to get up out of here, bro, because something." So like they're bar hopping. She's going into the club with him, and who's going to not let Josh Giddey and his entourage in? So this whole thing of that he met her in the club, he actually has to prove that.
Things have changed, because you ever hear about them young? Well, they older now, but they were young back in the day. How some of them young black ball players, football and basketball players, used to talk about how they used to go to the clubs with the older cats, and they wouldn't let them cats in. They wouldn't let them rookies in because they were under 21, even though they had the money and they was with the other teams. But Josh is just now 21, and he was going to a club 2 years ago. Well, no, I'm sorry. They did say that club was supposed to be an 18 and up club. Okay. It was supposed to be an 18 and I did read that. That was all part of it.
Some places give you a wristband or
you ain't even supposed to be on the same part of the bar because you could be giving them liquor. So really they're supposed to be kind of separating. Like you said, some of them give them wristbands, but them bouncers don't be in there checking to see who tipping, and if that's the case there, she was going in and out of the bars, probably still checking IDs, or just let your people go all through. Now you've got the nightclub owner who's culpable for letting her in.
I'm sure Gloria Allred is going to get to the bottom of all of this.
I bet you she will. She going to get to the bottom of that checkbook. What you going to get to the bottom of?
Most definitely. Yeah. And like you, I kind of picked up that even podcasters wasn't talking straightforward. The only one that I thought really brought some heat was Dez Bryant.
Yeah.
That was it. There's a few podcasts that I listen to, and people was like really treating this thing with white gloves, and I'm like, you can't get upset at the media for being biased and having this bifurcated system, and being able to distinguish one group over another when they're committing the same acts, and really vilify black athletes while always leaving that back door open for white athletes as being redeemable. If you on your own independent podcast that probably don't have no sponsors, make very little to no money, won't say the same thing because you're upset what your little bit of subscribers may say or may, unsubscribe to you. Like don't ask Stephen A. Smith to do what you won't do yourself if you consider yourself to be a sports podcast, especially if you consider yourself to be a fair and honest critiquer of sports and athletes. So that was an issue I also had with it. It's like everybody wants mainstream media to point out the fact that they're running a racist system, but they won't do it themselves.
Let me add this too. Stephen A. Smith, that audio that you ran, that was on his platform. That wasn't on ESPN.
No. He didn't. No, he didn't go on ESPN and say that.
Yeah, he did that.
And Stephen A. Smith even admitted to, I got my own podcast, so I can say things that I can't say on ESPN, and that's kind of alluding to he's not able to speak freely when it comes to
him and Shannon Sharp. They get gully on their own shit, but they ain't like that on the network.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, they don't even have free reign to say what they want to say on their podcast. They are freer to speak, but they don't have free reigns to say what they want to say.
They just got backlash about Megan. You see what he said about Megan?
Mm-mm.
You ain't seen that? Just go and look. Just put in Shannon and Megan, and he was talking about bending her over side to side, wishbone, this, that, and the other, all kinds of stuff. What he'd do for her. Yep, they've already got him. They've already given him the backlash. I don't know how you ain't heard about that, bro. He was on there with Ocho Cinco. Yeah, he was talking about how he would just twist her up like a pretzel. Bam, bam, bam. But this way, I'm going to give it to her like left, like right.
I know that show has been doing
48 hours of backlash.
One more subject I wanted to get into before we get off here, and I'm going to break these two segments up on the replay, but I got to speak on the Colorado Buffs, right? I just got to speak on it because at the beginning of the year, they were saying that Colorado was Black America's team. Black America's team can't be 4-8. Black America's team can't be a PWI. there's an interview out with Charleston White, and he's speaking about Deion selling out. There's an interview. Well, listen, if y'all don't know who Charleston White is, he is the ultimate contrarian. He'll be saying one thing. He needs a fact checker that follows him around. But he did speak a lot of truth. There's an interview out with Dr. Umar. He talks about Deion Sanders selling out. I addressed that. I hate the fact that people keep bringing up the fact that Jackson State University